All right, hello everybody, and welcome to what that guy just said, where we are at. Again, it's the TJ Chumps in Fairborn. We'll be out here for the next 30 minutes talking about Wright State University women's basketball. And with me to my right, for those here, good crowd here tonight and those watching on the video stream, is the head coach of the Raiders, Katrina Merriweather. And Katrina, here we are back again. I mean, you were here so early tonight. I mean, it was amazing. I think you beat me in here tonight. So, and you know, and that's a credit to you because, you know, let's face it was a tough weekend. You knew going up to Wisconsin, it's always tough for any school to win at Green Bay and Milwaukee to be able to do that. Your team fought in both games, came up close. You had a halftime lead at Green Bay, but, you know, there comes a time, you know, in a coach's life where, you know, you hit situations like this, you know, you get a couple of tough losses midway through the league season. You know, it really challenges you and your staff as far as, you know, the direction of this team right now. But we were talking before we came on the air here tonight, and you said, you know what, hey, anything's open. You know, well, right now, you know, we just got to figure out what we need to do to get better.
You know, there's a couple of things that are going on in my mind, and one is we haven't played well in a long time, and that gets covered up sometimes when you win. And I think that that stint where we had, where I think we won 6 in a row, I wasn't necessarily happy during that time either. We just haven't really clicked the way that I would like to defensively, and I knew that it was going to be a challenge integrating the returners in with the newcomers. And I feel like that's something that from time to time it hurts us. And in those close games like Cleveland State where it goes into overtime, you lose by 1, IUPUI, you lose by 3. I go back and I look and I'm always thinking, did I have the right combination in the game? So it has been rough the last few games for sure.
You know, it's interesting you say that, but you're right. A team could be going on a winning streak, but you just don't feel comfortable by the way they played. You know, it just worked out to where, you know, they came up with that win. But then again, you're saying, well, this is not going to keep up unless we start to change some things. You know, and right now you're just looking for some more consistency defensively. That's where it all starts.
There's no question. And we talked a lot about consistency today in practice. You just can't expect consistent results with inconsistent performance. And we've really challenged some of those returners. Simone Simmons got really challenged today. She hasn't played well offensively. What we could count on her for was rebounding, and she hasn't done that either in the last couple of games. And she really embraced that today and had a really good practice. Keeps me very optimistic about just how much they care and how bought in they are. But that's just not enough. You know, we play hard. We've always played hard. You have to play well.
Well, you've always talked about, too, it's a grind. I mean, you play this many games, and you've got upperclassmen on this team. You just mentioned one right there, but still, you know, these are 18 to 22-year-olds, you know, and how do you deal with that? And a lot of this group, you know, not used to losing games, you know, coming up on the short end.
You know, and I've talked about it before. It is great to have the expectation to win. That has started, again, when Mike Bradbury was here, to where these kids expect to win. Well, there's a lot that comes along with that. Again, you have to be able to be consistent, and we hadn't had great practices. They've just been okay. And I think that we played like we've practiced, which is something that we talk about all the time. So, again, today was really competitive, a lot longer than we would normally go on a Monday. But I think it was important to kind of dig in and do some rebounding stuff and make sure that we get some toughness back in us.
Is there video before you head out to the practice court?
Yeah, we didn't spend a whole lot of time with that. Keith does our zone press, and so we watched some of those clips, but we spent a lot of time on it. I asked him a couple of questions. You know, what kind of basketball player are you? What do you do this for? Because when we hunkered down and had 7 people last year, this team was much more focused. They were much more engaged, and this team has a lot of fun. And that's fine, but they're finding out that it's not fun when you're not playing well and we're not winning. So that's kind of where we are right now, is that, we've got to get that hunger back a little bit and get rid of that complacency. And we've said it from the beginning, last year has nothing to do with this year. Mm-hmm. But I think that, you know, it's just like any other time you say you talk to 18 to 22-year-old, they don't always listen. And I think they thought that when they suited up this year, well, surely we'll be better than we were last year. And this is what we did last year, so this is what's going to happen this year. Well, that's not how it works.
It's always a lesson every time you go out there on the floor and talk about video. We do have video from the game at Milwaukee. And for those here in attendance at the TJ Chumps in Fairborn and also watching on the video stream, we have some of the highlights from that game. We do. We will. I know we will because Greg's right over there, and here we go.
That's Max. She's played a really good couple of games here where she's knocked down some shots. And again, we got off to such a slow start at Milwaukee. I mean, it was 10-0. They had their best player out, and they came out with so much energy, and literally 4 of the 5 starters scored before we did.
We'll get some three-point baskets right there.
Yeah, Mac, again, has done a great job getting her feet set. Her teammates are doing a great job finding her. It's nice to have her back to form. But again, before that, and there's Chelsea, who made a shot and then followed her shot and got her put back there. And again, Chelsea's going to be a consistent scorer for us. She's going to take enough shots, and she's tough enough, aggressive enough. Bree Lloyd, who actually went down in Green Bay off of a jump ball, dislocated her shoulder. So we're not sure if or when she'll be back.
Took a lead right there early in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the fought back, and it just takes a lot of energy to to fight that back. And they made some shots and
those are the kind of points you like right there at the end.
Transition.
And that's transition,
Yeah.
be able to get some defensive deflections and get the easy buckets. Be nice to see a lot more of those in a game, wouldn't it?
It would be. And again, I think that if we had the urgency in the beginning of the game and at the tough moments, and that not just at the tough moments, but we're, again, a feel-good team. Like when we're scoring, and everybody wants to defend, but the minute that we get in that situation where our offense is what we're gaining for, it just is never a good situation. Our offense needs to always come from our defense. And I think we forget that different spurts of the game.
What about, you as fortunate during the game and also now during practice? You said that you and your staff challenged the group today. Is there a fine line on how you do that? I mean, there are times where, do I raise my voice to get the point across? Or, do I tell this person, do I limit the number of minutes they play? There are so many things that, you could possibly think of. How do you go through all that, sort through it, and do exactly what you want to have to see everybody back on page?
Well, the most important thing is to remember that everybody has to be coached differently. It doesn't really matter what I feel like doing. If I feel like yelling, if I feel like talking, if I feel like raising my voice, it's about what's going to get the most out of them in that moment. And I did mention Simone Simmons earlier because Simone Simmons does not respond to being yelled at. She responds to being coached and talked to in a calm voice, and that's when you get the most out of her. And again, I'm really, really proud of how she responded today. And I think that most of them are like that. To challenge them really just means you're better than what you're showing. So show it.
Do the rest of the players, student athletes, look at that and they see, the different ways that you go trying to motivate each player? Because, in this situation, sometimes you're like, okay, we did everything we're supposed to do. What else can we do?
I think so. And again, I think that they know. I'm very, very open with them, as you can tell. Like, I'm a talker anyway. But I tell them all the time, like, it's not for them to really evaluate. Their job is to support and pick up each other. And not knowing when it's going to be their turn or when they're going to need to get picked up. So they don't pay a whole lot of attention, I think, to how I talk to them individually as much as I think they do. This is going to be a tough day for Chelsea today, tough day for Emily today. Let's make sure we rally around her and pick her up.
Yeah, a lot of these players, they've gone through this thing before. I mean, they have in certain times in their life, it'd be through here in college or also in high school, so they can draw back on their experience to hopefully get them through this.
It's the greatest thing about being an athlete. When we talk about it, prepares you for life. I mean, it prepares you for life. Because, again, these kids, and although we don't talk about a lot of it publicly, they have deaths in their family. They don't do well on exams. They fall out with their friends. Like, they have other stuff going on besides just playing basketball. So to pretend that those things don't matter, that they don't affect them, that, again, they get injured, and you all don't know it. They may have missed 1 or 2 practices that week, so maybe their timing is off or their jumper is off. They go through stuff, and you just got to continue to support them and let them know that you're there, and at the same time, know that the expectations don't change.
That's what the struggle is. I mean, when you look about that, those are lessons in life, that you go through when you're on a job and you have situations come up that, are not pleasant, and you have to be able to handle those situations. But again, this is a game, it's basketball. And I know we've heard Coach Nagy talk about it. He says you're preparing these people for those situations in life beyond this game, and it goes by so fast. So this is a learning experience, for them because they are going. And I can tell what you're talking about. You're not making excuses. You're just telling it the way it is. It's just things they have to deal with, and hopefully they can get stronger from that.
I told them today, they get chosen to be a Raider because I believe that they are going to take school seriously, that they're going to be good citizens, and that they're talented basketball players. They don't get to do one of the three or two of the three. They have to do all 3. There are a lot of people that invest in them, from our supporters that come out like tonight to our games, and the people that we have that donate money to our program and athletic department. And then there's personal investments by administration, coaches, everybody that's around, fans, people that cheer for them. You have to hold up your end of the bargain. You have to do those 3 things. And again, when life happens, because it does, I do understand that, they've got challenges and obstacles and struggles. We all remember being 18 to 22.
Yeah.
So, but again, they still have to figure out how to show up.
And the expectation levels, like you talked about, that's the thing that you deal with because I guess you can call that maybe pressure, but some are able to handle that better than others. But this is a group. This is a group that has to figure it out, and it's not just one individual who's going to have to be able to lead them to the so-called promised land.
People say it all the time: pressure either bursts pipes or it makes diamonds. And you have to make up your mind what it's going to be. And we have 6 conference games left, and we have an option to look at the last 5 or look forward to the next 6. And what we decided and talked about today was looking forward to the next 6, one game at a time, and not drag on this spurt that clearly is unfamiliar to us, that we clearly do not like and are not happy about. But instead of wallowing in what we can't change, we're going to focus on moving forward and making sure that we right the ship so that we can perform in the future.
And then your approach, too, as far as you getting ready for games, that won't change. I mean, this is the second time through, with the teams coming up, Oakland and Detroit Mercy this coming weekend, and, you take them one game at a time. As far as preparation is concerned, X and O-wise, that's not going to change.
No, none of that will. I mean, we are right now, it's just about downright grit and toughness because everyone knows what everybody's doing at this point, and not even just from an X and O standpoint, players' tendencies. So once plays break down, people know Chelsea's left-handed, she's going left. We literally have, if you just pause when she shoots sometimes, there's 3 people that are on her mid-air. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, why didn't she just pass it? Well, she's in the air, and Lexi's a rebounder. So you don't really dump to Lexi. It's probably going to go out of bounds. So there's just things that we are working on and continuing to adjust because, again, people are on to what we're doing. The same way we're on to what they're doing.
Exactly.
So.
All right, well, we're going to talk about looking ahead, too, and upcoming this weekend, games here at home at the Wright State University Nutter Center against Oakland and Detroit Mercy. We'll have more on that when we return to TJ Chumps. This is Wright State University basketball.
Please join us for Wright State's annual Arts Gala March 24th. Enjoy amazing performances by our incredible art students, plus fine dining and auction items, too. All proceeds support art scholarships. That's Arts Gala on March 24th.
Hi, I'm Bob Grody, class of 1976 and former Raiders player and coach. Did you know that once you're a Wright State grad, you're automatically a member of the Alumni Association? As a member, tap into the Wright State Network, attend a local alumni event, and earn discounts and special offers. Log on to wrightstatealumni.com and make the most of your membership. Thank you, and go Raiders.
The thing I like most about Wright State athletics is the fact that everyone cares about you as a person first and then an athlete second. My name is Chelsea Welch. I'm a redshirt junior, academically a senior. I'm from Kettering, Ohio, so it's about 10-15 minutes away from here. I play women's basketball. Really, my deciding factor was just how much of a close-knit community Wright State is, especially the coaching staff. They really make you feel right at home, so couldn't really turn it down. I would definitely choose Wright State again if I had a chance, and I'd definitely recommend it to anyone. The education's great, the community is great, everyone is so nice and welcoming, and it's just a great choice.
And we are back at TJ Chumps. Good crowd here tonight, enjoying their meal out here. Hey, just a program reminder, next week we're going to switch over to the Huber Heights location for the final coaches shows of the year from the Huber Heights location. Again, that's going to be next Monday. And then the following Monday, we're going to be off because teams will be playing. And then that following Monday will be the final show of the year back here in Fairborn. If you need information, just go to our website at WSURaiders.com. Go to the coaches pages and also the team pages to get that schedule. Again, next week will be at Huber Heights. Well, Coach Merriweather, upcoming as you look forward, you've got Oakland and you've got Detroit Mercy coming in this weekend. Let's first start with the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. This is a team that they've only won one game in their last 6 games, but you don't prepare for them, that way because, again, everybody's seen each other and you just don't know who's going to have a good shooting night. You just really concern yourselves about, your type of team. You're going to be playing them on Saturday, and we'll talk about Detroit Mercy, your upcoming opponent, on Thursday in just a moment.
The thing is Oakland from the very beginning, I talked about how talented they are. Again, they've got that transfer from Illinois, transfer from DePaul, and it's just a matter of whether or not those kids are all going to click on the same day or not. And, of course, they've clearly had a rough time, but we all know that there's just a few possessions difference sometimes in those games. So, again, they run the dribble drive a little bit, and we'll just have to get that part figured out. And Detroit's the same way. Mm-hmm. They know what we do, and we know what they do, and players got to play.
Of course, you remember Detroit last year, in the tournament. They played extremely well. I know you want to remember it, but, they always have some decent players that you have to face. Now, in the first encounter this year, against them, were they doing anything differently defensively, especially to try to stop your team?
I don't think so. Again, a lot of the time, people will every once in a while box and one Chelsea. Those things don't work very well because she's our point guard. I think it's a little tougher. Ball's in her hands a lot, so you don't necessarily have to keep it out of her hands. She has it from the beginning. But I do think that people do key on her. Again, once she's driving full speed, I think there's so many resources people commit to her. Again, and I thought we did a really good job at Green Bay moving the ball around, where she didn't seem to force so many shots over so many people, where she would stop and reverse pivot back out and kick it out, and we drive it again. And our ball movement had a lot to do with why we were in that game for so long.
Well, the first game against Detroit, you look at the score and you won by 20-plus points, held on the 60 points. I would imagine that's one of the goals of your defense, to hold 60 and under, isn't it?
It is, and we really have a goal of 55 and under because I think that challenges them just a bit more. But we do some things that can be a little difficult on Lexi. When we switch 1 through 5 and she ends up, people set that 1-5 ball screen, it does put her in a pretty bad spot a lot of the time. And we try to cover that a little bit. But honestly, our guards are so good defensively in the post that's why we do it. People sometimes wonder why we switch 1 through 5 and put Lexi on a point guard. Mm-hmm. But it's really because it puts Chelsea on a post player. And she's so strong and so aggressive. And the other team always then focuses on feeding the post because they think they have a guard on them. And it feeds right into us and into our hands every time.
Well, you definitely, we talked about it earlier, getting off to good starts and doing it on the defensive end, getting some steals and getting some easy baskets, seeing the ball go through that basket really lifts your team's confidence.
And I've never really put a heavy stock in playing at home because I feel like when you do that, the kids get a little messed up about playing on the road. But the reality is that this is a team that plays better at home. And I don't know that that's been historically how we've been. So that's actually pretty exciting. It's nice that they enjoy playing in front of our crowd and in front of their friends and family. So I'm hoping that that'll be something that they'll be excited about, too, this week.
All right, it all starts with Detroit Mercy coming up on Thursday, and then you follow that up with a weekend game against Oakland. And I'm sure all coaches do this. You stress it one game, at a time because you just don't want to put too much, on your student athletes. Because like you say, you have to impress in the classroom, do your community events, you grow as a person, and then you get to the game, which is their responsibility, how they prepare for each game. As you guys prepare, for the game with Oakland, we talked about this just a moment ago, and that is the fact that you don't really change your approach because would you think it's because your team might pick up on why are they changing things? So there's something else to think about?
I think that what we try to do is make adjustments in what we already do. Try not to put in a whole lot of brand new things. But again, when you run that dribble drive and anybody who watches or pays attention to you, it gives you a lot of options. It's more than just weaving that ball out front, which when I listen to commentators, it does tickle me a little bit because I think that that's all people think it is that you just like dribble weave it back and forth.
Oh, there's a lot more to it than
There
that.
is. There's quite a bit to it. And so, again, we make some adjustments, things that we call like long throughs, where you'll see Simone go all the way to the opposite corner. We'll rotate Mackenzie up into the 4 spot, which is a good advantage for her because she catches it ready to shoot. So we'll do those sorts of things more so than we will do a lot of changing of things.
Would you like to see your team at times, because teams do struggle when you take a lot of jump shots, and sometimes the defense, that's what gives they give you. Would you like to see them take the ball to the basket more, other than Chelsea?
That drives me nuts.
Okay.
We shoot a lot of threes. And we shoot a lot of threes because our kids have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And I'm just not really that coach that stops that.
Yeah.
And it probably is something that I'll have to grow in. But I just am such a player's coach. It's just hard. I know that that's not true. I had one game this year when I said no more threes. And I mean no more. Well, of course, then we passed up 3 open ones, turn it over once, and then miss 2 pull-up jump shots after that. Well, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean take a 1-2 step 3 that we shoot about 40% to take a 2 dribble pull-up that we shoot 20%. That's not what I meant. So after that game, I'm thinking, okay, don't say that anymore. That's not the answer.
And sometimes, the shot just isn't going to fall for you. And another way to get back into it and score points is get to the free throw line.
It is. And for us, it's to rebound. Again, it has really, people have keyed in. People look at Lexi's stats, and her rebounding stats have gone down because she's not sneaking up on anyone anymore. I think that last year people thought that, well, that's just lucky. She's 5'10". Well, it's not lucky. Like, she works her tail off. Well, now people are committing resources to her, boxing her out, which is some of the reason why Simone Simmons can get those 12, 14 rebounds a game. So everybody's got a game plan. And I promise you, they spend more time on Lexi than they do even on Chelsea. Because Chelsea, being a guard, I think is easier to them to stay between her and the basket. It's Lexi that you have to pay attention to, because you look up and she'll have you 2 feet under that basket.
That's definitely, if you have 2 or 3 players that teams have to be focused on, that makes it a little more difficult for them. But I guess the ultimate is to have 5 players who would be able to score, who are threats to score. There's a difference between, scoring and being a threat to score.
Right. And I think that, again, we've played teams that have triangle and 2, and they put it on Chelsea and Mac. Leaving Emily open. In fact, that was one game where she had 16. And when teams decide to do that, they're playing the percentages, playing the odds. Well, again, you have to show up. And on those days, you have to be able to make shots. And when you don't make shots, you have to be able to go rebound. And that's something else we emphasize today, too. If people are not guarding you, go crash the boards and get an offensive rebound. And whether you put it back or you give us another opportunity to run our play, then you've done your job.
Well, I guess what you're saying is just to say, go out there and play. Don't try to think about, micromanaging, the game. You're put out there for a reason. Just go out, feel comfortable, get themselves prepared mentally just to play the game of basketball, and everything should fall into place.
For sure. I mean, like right now, we practice with 2 short. Again, Bree is out because of her shoulder, and Nia's got some. She's always had a little bit of a cardiac type situation that we've had to monitor from the beginning. So we're down 2 players that arguably are my first post player, first guard off the bench. I asked them today, are you the type of player that looks at that and says, this is an opportunity for me to show that I can help this team? Or are you the type of player that's just irritated because 2 people don't get to practice and you have to today? And that says a lot about you and what your mentality is about being on this team. And of course, they all said, no, we see it as an opportunity.
Well, sure they do.
Yeah.
Actually doing it and saying a different thing, right?
Yeah. So, but again, practice was good today. In the second 5, I thought that they did a really good job of playing hard, challenging the first 5, and I think that we got a little better today.
All right, Coach, stand by. We got our final break coming up. Katrina Merriweather Show. We're talking Wright State Women's Hoops. We'll be back with more here in Fairborn at TJ Chumps. This is Wright State University basketball.
My name is Emily. I'm a sophomore here at Wright State. Obviously, I'm on the basketball team. I'm from Cincinnati. My deciding factor for choosing Wright State was the coaching staff and how friendly everyone is. When I was on my visit, we came to see BG and Doylin and everyone. Got to tour the facility, so it was really nice to feel like that family environment instead of like, oh, I'm about to go to school and not really know anyone, but like it was nice to meet everyone. My favorite class is geography. I mean, I'm not really good at it, but I look forward to class every Monday and Wednesday with my professor. His name's Arliss Perry. He's like passionate about geography, so it's nice to go there and like have learning actually be fun. I would definitely choose Wright State again. I love it here.
What does it mean to be a pioneer, reaching your full potential? It means being bold. No, bigger than bold, monumental. Where would we be if we ceased at the first "you can't do that"? How would we advance if we stopped in our tracks every time we heard "hey you, move back"? We develop thick skin when opposition wishes we'd stay soft. Against resistance, our persistence will pay off. At Wright State, our goal remains central. We are the pioneers of potential.
And we are back. Good crowd here tonight at TJ Chumps in Fairborn. And coming up at 6 o'clock at the top of the hour, we'll be switching over to the men's side, talking with Wright State head coach Scott Nagy and the men's team here at Wright State University. Along with Katrina Merriweather, we're here talking women's basketball for the next couple of minutes. And, you know, Coach, again, you got games coming up this weekend, part of doubleheaders, women's, men's games coming up Thursday against Detroit Mercy at home, and then also at Wright State's Nutter Center on Saturday. You'll be taking on the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland University. As we like to do here, you know, towards the end of the program, too, just get an update, fans excited about, you know, the new student athletes, you know, who will be coming in here next year. I know it's tough, you know, for your team during the season, but it's part of your job and your assistants to be able to follow up on those who have signed and will be here next year as players.
Yeah, Anijah Harris, the kid that's up in Columbus that we talk about a lot, is doing a really good job shooting the ball. So that makes me excited. About 5'8", has a nice build, strong. So she shouldn't have much of an adjustment physically. Again, she'll have the typical freshman transition of pace and everything, but excited about her. Angel Baker, that's out of Indianapolis. She won her sectional championship, cut down some nets on Saturday, beat Ben Davis High School, which is a powerhouse in Indiana. Again, she had 24 points, just a pure point guard. We're super, super excited. Again, she's not built like Chelsea, so it's not like it's going to be a shoe-in. Plus, Chelsea's a fifth-year senior, and this is an 18-year-old. So I do have high hopes for her, and I think that she's pretty excited about getting here. So it's a lot to look forward to.
Well, you talk about Baker, and I was reading some things about her also, about the championship and the type of player, you know, she is. And I said, I could bet Coach Merriweather brings a smile to her face because not only that, the type of player she is too, but she's from, you know, your hometown area around Indianapolis. You got to feel good about that.
I do, for sure. And she actually attends the same high school that Ashley Barlow attended. So we've got some deep connections in Indiana between Ashley and Keith and myself. So it's always really helpful to be able to recruit there and pull kids out of there. But, I mean, that kid is a front runner for Miss Basketball, which is clearly the best.
That's quite an honor in
state.
Indiana.
It is, and I couldn't be more thrilled about her because, again, she's a good kid. She comes to our games. You'll see her in the stands from time to time. And
she must put a uniform on already, doesn't she?
She does, and I'm telling you, if I could get away with it, I probably would have slipped one on her. But again, just a good kid. You know, you all are going to like her. She's got a great personality, and I think she's really going to help us.
What about recruiting, you know, real quick? I got a couple minutes left. You know, it's obviously it's tough because there's a lot of schools in some quality conferences that you have to recruit against here in this area.
It is. It's usually why we leave the state. And I know people don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. When you sit here at Wright State and you've got Dayton and Xavier and Cincinnati and Ohio State and Miami of Ohio, and it's just really unfortunate to me, the perception that a lot of people have of Wright State, where I can try to recruit a kid of equal talent here in Ohio versus one in Indiana, and they'd be so amazed at what we have in our facilities and all those things, and for kids here 20 minutes away, to struggle to get them on campus. And I've kind of talked about that a little bit before, because of course we would prefer that. Of course we would love to go have a homegrown kid like we do with Carly Clodfelter at Tip City. It would, I just think that that's awesome. But at the end of the day, we're competing with all those schools that we talked about, and Green Bay is pulling the best player in Wisconsin. They're not going to Wisconsin. They're not going to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's different. Right.
They literally have their pick in that entire state. And when kids want to look at Wright State as the 5th or 6th option in the state, by the time we get down to that level, those kids, they don't help you win championships, and that's just the reality of it.
In competition, that's what really helps. And if you can tell these people, obviously you do, that, how successful this program has been over the last few years, that's got to be helpful.
It does. No, it helps. And I'm telling you, what helps. Winning helps, and facilities help. Our practice facility, that pavilion, is amazing in recruiting. You have people come in and practice at that facility, and they are so surprised that it's there. It's better than a lot of what they've seen.
Well, Coach, the fast break, we've gone through it again. The 30 minutes has gone by. Again, we appreciate it, and best of luck coming up this Thursday, with Detroit Mercy and then Oakland on Saturday.
Appreciate it.
All right, stay with us here at TJ Chumps in Fairborn. We'll be back. We'll be talking Wright State University men's basketball when Coach Scott Nagy joins us.
The Horizon League Men's and Women's Basketball Championships invade Little Caesars Arena March 2nd through 6th with an NCAA tournament automatic bid at stake. Don't miss your chance to see elite college basketball action as all 10 Horizon League teams battle for conference bragging rights. Fans can reserve their seat by contacting their university box office today. For more information, visit horizonleague.com. Experience Motor City Madness at Little Caesars Arena March 2nd through 6th.
Recognized as one of Ohio's leading universities, Wright State offers a welcoming environment to nearly 20,000 students from all backgrounds, from all 50 states, and from 64 countries, with a dedication to service. Students pursue degrees in demand, such as accountancy, and are well on their way to successful careers, winning a national accounting competition an unprecedented 5 times. Our focus on ingenuity has made us one of Ohio's top research universities. We've developed a meaningful partnership to improve the diagnosis and treatment of neurological disorders, and a one-of-a-kind training facility for healthcare providers and disaster responders from around the world, one of our 6 Ohio Centers of Excellence. Our culture of creativity has made us a trailblazer for collaboration and innovation in the arts. Built on a heritage of innovation, Wright State University's positive impact is felt throughout our region and the world.
And we are back, and it's time for the Scott Nagy Show, as he just mentioned, and we'll be here for the next hour talking with the second-year head coach of the Wright State University men's basketball team. Got a couple of players coming in later on, some new players. I'm sure the fans always enjoy that afterwards to get to know these student athletes. James Manns will be joining us, and also Ty Wilburn, who, if you heard the other night, our broadcast was on at the end of the game, and the contributions that he made in the Youngstown State game. Be interesting to talk with Ty again here tonight. So we appreciate that, and we thank you, Coach Nagy, for allowing the student athletes to be a part of your program. But let's talk about this weekend that was just concluded. Obviously, Cleveland State, that's just something you wanted to put behind you. And then we moved on to the Youngstown State game. Your team responded, and that says a lot about their character. Coach Brown and I talked during the broadcast on how, what a difficult situation it was matchup-wise to go up against the Penguins after that tough loss just 2 nights before. And the way your team responded, you had to be absolutely proud of them.
Well, the Cleveland State game felt almost to me exactly like the Milwaukee game. We didn't get off to a very good start. We gave them a lot of confidence, and our guards just really struggled in the game. They struggled offensively, and we obviously worked ourselves back in the game. I don't know what we were down the second half, but we ended up taking the lead. But,
down 14 at one point.
Yeah, but again, I think we'd given them so much confidence, and being a little shorthanded without Everett, obviously made it a little more difficult. But we've said this over and over. We're just not the kind of team that can just play average and win. We don't have that talent, and we definitely don't have the depth. And particularly without Everett, it made it even more difficult. We weren't very sharp. But like you said, our kids played great on Saturday night. We were really pleased with how they responded.
Coach, at the top right now, Everett Winchester, has he been cleared for practice yet?
Close. We expect him to play Thursday, and so he's starting to do some things. He did just a few things today, and then tomorrow I think he has an individual workout with Coach Cooley, which might be worse than practice. I don't know. And then
yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, but he's not clear. He'll be probably clear for contact on Wednesday.
All right, let's talk about this Youngstown State game, especially the way this team came back. You knew going into the game how good they were offensive rebounding, and you knew they would put pressure on your team because of your short bench. And the way the team responded, at times, turn the ball over. They weren't real happy about that, but it always helps when you shoot the ball well over 50% in the game.
It does. Had you told me before the game that, hey, you're going to turn it over 19 times and give up 18 offensive rebounds, I would have thought we've gotten beat by 25. That's just those aren't great stats, but we were great defensively, really good defensively, and we were good offensively when we took care of the ball.
Coach, you mentioned offensive rebounds, and I didn't realize this, but I was looking at some pregame notes that Bob Noss presented, and every time this year, and it's happened 10 times now, that the other team has had more offensive rebounds than us, we've won the game.
Yeah, and really the only way that I can explain that would be that we're playing such good defense and making them miss so many shots that they're going to get more offensive rebounds. There are more offensive rebounds for them to get, and we've had some really good defensive games, and then we've struggled to get the ball. I mean, I think about at Oakland, we were so good defensively, we couldn't get the ball. We just had several games like that, but I think that would be the only way that I could explain is that our defense, has forced them to miss so many shots, they're going to end up getting a few more offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with that. The other night, and Chris talked a little bit about this, but the way that game started the other night, they came out, they put full court pressure on you. It was very, very physical. There was a lot of bumping, a lot of holding going on. And the first 3 possessions, they had like 4 offensive rebounds, and you thought, oh my gosh, how are we going to get
We had 4, at the timeout, we had 4
straight turnovers.
4 turnovers. It didn't look good the way the game started. I didn't like it. I thought we were a little bit flat. Loudon was a little bit flat, and he finally got himself going. It just, I told our guys, if you can take care of the ball and you'll be patient. If you look at the stats, Youngstown fouls a lot. I mean, they're aggressive, they're strong, they're physical. They come after you, they're trying to hunt turnovers. And so if you're tough with it, you're going to get fouled and you're going to get to the free throw line. And if you don't take quick, bad shots, and it was a point of emphasis. We felt like, the game before when they played Northern Kentucky, you look at Williams and McDonald, they both had huge games, and we felt like that they don't have a really good inside presence. They're just going to try to force turnovers, and if we could take care of it, get it inside, the threes come from getting it inside and kicking it back out.
Well, you got behind 9-2, and then I didn't realize this at the time, but we stayed at 9 for quite a while, like 4 or 5 possessions, and then we tied it up. We got 9, and then went into 13-9, and then we had several possessions where just nothing happened for either team, and then we just went on a run. I mean, it was an incredible, we're like 24-2 run, and took control of the game.
Yeah, and it was defense. It was defense for us for sure, and then we. It isn't like we shot the ball unbelievable from 3. We just got to the basket a lot.
You said key shots. You hit some key threes.
We did hit some key threes, but we talked about this in the second half. Jalen took that 1-3 with like 12 seconds left, and I kind of went crazy. And I just said, Jalen, just look at the fouls. They have 10 fouls. Just put it on the floor and attack the basket. He's the one guy of all our guys that is the best at that. Put it on the floor and get to the free throw line, and he did that.
And Mark Hughes played well for the family and friends. He felt he needed to. And let's first start with his defense. I know, Coach, you said it over and over again that he's one of the best defenders that you've ever coached in your 20-plus years as a head coach. And the things that he did, defensively, the way he's frustrating Cameron Morse, 2 games where the guy doesn't even get double digits against this team, that just says a lot about his defense.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, we played 2 games with Cameron Morse, who, coming in the year, I would tell you, I voted for him for MVP. I mean, I thought he was that good.
too.
And he scored 10 points in 2 games with Mark on him, probably 95% of the time. I mean, Mark he has great anticipation. I would classify him, say he's just an unbelievable athlete, but his lateral movement is tremendous. He has great anticipation. He always gets away. He stays out of foul trouble, and he's 6'4" and long, and he really makes it hard on good guards to score.
And he contributed also. You talked about the big threes in that game. He was 5 for 10 in the game. All of them were 3-point shots, and a few of those coming at key moments.
Yeah, he hit a couple in the second half when we started to turn the ball over and it felt like they had a chance to get back in the game. But I would like to see Mark get to the basket a little bit more. He's one of he had 6 turnovers, I think, in that game, which is so many for him. I mean, he's really, if you look at our guards, he probably takes care of the ball better than anybody. I think his assist-turnover ratio is the best on our team. And so when he does put it on the floor, he makes good decisions. I would like him to be more aggressive. I always have wanted him to be more aggressive offensively.
Well, we want to thank his mom real quick, too, because she
Man,
gave
those
us
donuts
she
were
gave
really
us some
good.
donuts. Well, Coach Sargent gave me those early after shoot-around, and I looked at that box in my room, and I thought, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm going to try one. I had 3 of those.
Yeah, I noticed that thing didn't make it to the bus on the way home.
No, it didn't, because I gave the other 3 to Coach Brown.
Yeah, they were gone.
They were absolutely wonderful. Yeah. We thank her for that. Just a good family. I know they enjoyed it. And for me, that's the first time since Youngstown State when they joined the Horizon League back in, 2000, 2001, where we've seen that big a crowd at the Beagley Center. I mean, there was at least, I would estimate, about 4,500 people there.
Well, if you look at their stats, it looks like on Thursday nights they really struggle to get people in there, and on the Saturday night games they've had some pretty good crowds.
Yeah, so I'm sure that helped Mark Hughes also in that game to be able to perform well in front of the home folks.
One thing that I was so pleased with Mark is he missed his first 3 threes. I'm pretty sure he missed his first 3 threes, and he didn't stop shooting. The next time he was open, he shot it and he canned it, and then he made another one in a row. And I was so happy he did that, because there's been times this year I felt like he's passed up shots.
Yeah, he's well. I mean, we've talked about it enough. I mean, he just is not as aggressive as I would like him to be. But there's also that point where I don't want him taking shots because he thinks I want him taking shots. That's not a good time to shoot. I want you to shoot because you want to shoot.
And that helps his confidence too. Well, speaking of shooting, Grant Benzinger again, the focus of the defense of a lot of teams, and of course he got himself in foul trouble, and foul trouble was a big issue. For your team against Youngstown State. There was 12 minutes to go in the game, and Coach Brown and I were looking at each other. Do they have anybody else at the end of the bench? Because it was getting a little scary at that situation.
Yeah, we were concerned, and we went down the bench and told Trey and Adam, hey, you may need to be ready to go. And Adam would be a good player to play in that game anyway, because it's such a physical game, and he would get in there and mix it up. Probably foul out very quickly, but. But
he'd give you some minutes.
Yeah, he would definitely give us some minutes. But I was concerned too. With Grant 4, we had to sit Mark over there for a little bit, and Grant got his 4th one. I mean,
12 minutes.
Yeah, but it was a loose ball, and he's going for it. I mean,
that's the way he plays.
Of course, I got mad at him. I mean. For diving on the floor, and just like, hey, you got 3 fouls, we need you on the floor.
Well, that gave Ty Wilburn a chance to play too.
The funny thing about that game is when I was on the bus sitting there, every one of those players, Loudon, Grant Benzinger, as they walked by me, they said, Coach, have you ever seen so many fouls called in your life?
What, over 42 of them in the game total?
Yeah. Well, block out, and then you don't have to worry about it as much, I guess. But yeah, I thought Ty played well. I thought he gave us some really good minutes off the bench. I think he played 15 minutes. And I mean, he always gives us good production. I feel like per minute played, he leads our team in steals for sure.
I thought the defensive play he made when there was a diagonal pass about 3/4 court, and he looked just like a safety from the NFL. He just jumped out of nowhere, grabbed the ball, and went the other way with it. That was an outstanding play.
Well, you know, and I keep saying this. He doesn't get a lot of time, but in practice, I mean, he's been a very good player for us, and so we expect him to make plays like that and win. And I guess we're not over surprised when he does it.
You know, he had 5 assists in the game in the 15 minutes that he played. Didn't turn the ball over that much either. And when he comes into the game, he just has one motor. He just plays one way. And I know towards the end of the game, I know you weren't too happy with the fact that he was going down the floor and gave Jalen an assist for an easy basket.
Well, you know, when the game's over and it's under 30 seconds, I don't want to shoot it. But, you know, they were all chasing that ball, and so what are you going to say?
He doesn't know the score.
Yeah, I don't think our kids were trying to rub it in. It's funny that you say, you know, he didn't turn the ball over that much. When you say that, that means your team's turning it over a lot. and so
well, 19 in a game,
you know,
is
he
a lot.
played pretty. Didn't turn it over that much.
Yeah.
He only had 1 turnover.
Yeah,
that's pretty good with 19.
5 assists, 1
That's
turnover.
pretty good assist-turnover ratio.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more. This is the Scott Nagy Show, talking Wright State basketball. The Raiders back home against Green Bay on Thursday. This is Wright State University basketball.
Wright State University is a safe place to study, work, and play. To help keep it that way, we offer you a free app that provides tip texting, personal guardians, a safety timer, a panic button, and a safety profile, all connected seamlessly with Wright State Police. It's called Raider Guardian. After downloading the app from the App Store or Google Play, you can invite family, friends, or Wright State Police to be your guardians and communicate with them within the app as needed. The safety timer sends automatic notifications to your assigned guardians if your safety timer expires. Emergency communication is seamless and discreet. Send tips, photos, or make one-touch calls if you see something suspicious. Finally, if you place a panic call or your safety timer expires, the Raider Guardian app allows Wright State Police to immediately track your location using the GPS in your phone. For further information and contact information, visit wright.edu/RaiderGuardian.
The dreams of Orville and Wilbur climbing up over the silver lining seemed to many a waste of time trying. But before others could find it, the science behind it, the brothers were flying. They might think leaving our feet would be a feat too steep, but not for the dreamers. They might say there's no way, it's better to stay safe, but not for believers. At Wright State, our goal remains central. We are the pioneers of potential.
Along with Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, we are back here with Scott Nagy, the second-year head coach of the Wright State University basketball team, 18-7 on the year. Still in a tie for first place with Northern Kentucky. And the Raiders have the tiebreaker at this moment, but still a lot of games to be played. It starts with the next game against Green Bay coming up this Thursday. It's a 7:30 tip-off at the Irvin J. Nutter Center here on the Wright State University campus. It's the first of 4 consecutive games for the Raiders at home. They finished 4 out of their 6 here at home. They finish up the season at IUPUI and UIC, but that's way down the road, Coach. And you've got an opponent, Green Bay, coming up this weekend. But first, before we talk about them a little bit, we do have some highlights for the folks here at TJ Chumps in Fairborn, as well as those watching on the video stream tonight. Highlights of the Youngstown State game.
Man, I should have worn my glasses.
Well, that was Cole Gentry going on the baseline.
Oh, Cole really played well offensively for us. You know, and it's he's been a little bit up and down offensively, but he was really good that night.
You know, he had to, as you said after the game, he had to have been exhausted.
Oh, my goodness, because he was dribbling through the press the whole night.
Here's Mark Hughes with the ball. We saw a dribble drive by Jalen just a moment ago.
That was such a great cut by Grant. They switched that, and then Grant back cut. And, you know, that was one of the points of emphasis for us was the back cut, obviously, because they're going to pressure.
And then they'll trap you at half court.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, that's what you get. If you're patient, you take care of the ball, you're going to get some wide open shots like that, and you better make them against a team that presses. You're going to get some of those, and you have to make them pay.
There's a great pass to Loudon.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the Parker spin, move, and pass. And
well, he was talking about that on the bus.
Well,
he said it was like Irvin Magic Johnson.
I mean, it was
a great move.
It was a great move, for a guy that's 6'10" to put it on the floor, spin, and pass to a wide open guy on the perimeter was a great play.
I think he told Coach Cooley there's more to come.
Well, we just need him to play great defense.
And he took 2 more charges in this game.
Yeah, and there's another really good pass inside of Loudon. They fronted just like Cleveland State did, and so Loudon got some easier shots this weekend. He didn't have to try to go through people. He kind of caught the ball over the top.
Not only do they press, but they're so athletic and long in the backcourt. It made it difficult.
Yeah. And again, against that press, you're going to walk into some threes like that, and you better make them.
Yeah, because if you don't, they're going to take it right back at you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they have one of the fastest.
I thought they were going to break the backboard on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been a technical. He needs to quit hanging on the rim, or there's not going to be much rim left.
Well, he tapped the backboard in Cleveland
This
State.
is another good move by Parker, the spin move. But we noticed that we had 2 ball screens from Loudon to Parker in the game, and we generally don't work on that kind of ball screen, to be honest.
Yeah.
That
this
was really
is a great
good
move. That's a great move. I mean, he took it deep.
He's patient.
Made that reverse pivot. Yeah, he played an amazing game, talking about Cole Gentry, because, the Cleveland State game was up and down, very physical, and he played 30. That was the thing I was concerned about, and I'm sure you were too. Your 3 guards, Benzinger, Cole Gentry, and Mark Hughes, all played 36, 37 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they had to come back and play against a very physical.
I know, but you see us in between. We don't do much. I mean, we're working as hard as we can to keep those guys fresh. We know we're not very deep, and so it's just important that we cover the things we need to do. We feel like we have our players in a good spot, so we trust them that we can take a day in between and not work real hard, do some shooting, walk through some things, and trust that they'll play well, and they do.
Go ahead, Coach.
Well, it's just nice that you can trust your kids, to be honest, and we have that kind of group. I mean, these guys are listening to us, and they've really bought in, and you watch them play now, they believe in each other a lot.
And you talked about that again at the end of the game, even if they didn't come up on the scoreboard on the right side, that you're just so proud of them because, in your words, you said they just give you everything they have. And as a coach, that you can't expect more than that.
They do, and I am. I'm proud to be their coach. I'm proud of them, but I'm proud to be their coach. And we just a great group. They've been great in the classroom. Just good attitudes, trying to do what we ask them to do, and I think that they believe a lot in each other, and they've been fun. They've been a lot of fun to coach.
Well, we talked about this during the season, but you could see that early in the year, and you kept saying you really believed in them. They just have to realize that they can believe in themselves. They can do things and have a magic season. Of course, there's a long way to go right now, but you knew it, I think, before they did.
Well, that's kind of part of the coach's job is to develop the vision and help them see it and believe in it. And even Brian and I were talking this morning that because we're always thinking about recruiting and ahead and those kind of things, but going into this summer, the difference our players are feeling, the expectations that are starting to build, and they're because I think next year people will expect more out of our basketball team. So our players going in the summer are going to understand that, but they'll also expect that, and they'll work toward that.
All right, you got Green Bay coming up on Thursday again. As you say, you take them one at a time, and this Green Bay team features one of the better scorers in the league, and Khalil Small. I mean, he's tough to handle.
Oh, he's a moose, and he's one of the leading offensive rebounders in the league too. At 6'2" or 6'3", just is probably one of the strongest guys in the league, pound for pound, and he really handles the ball. He's been shooting the ball well. But it's so nice to be home. I mean, for 4 straight games, I think I counted that I'm going to be home for 18 days, and
Did your wife like that?
Well, she likes it now. In about 9 days, she'll be wondering if we have any more road games.
Oh, but maybe we'll see your dad a little bit more. I haven't seen him on the road like we normally have because we played not close into the Illinois area. But is he going to come down for some home games?
I would expect that he'll be here for some of them.
Will he have that special seat right behind the bench?
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there.
He's been well behaved this year. I have to give a lot of credit to him.
Well, he cares a lot. He does. He cares
He's
a lot
passionate
about our team, and he believes in our players too. And that's just everybody has their way of showing it for sure.
All right, yes, he does. He definitely has a different way.
Well, you talk about how much fun this team is to coach. I want to tell you, they're fun to watch. I mean, they are really an enjoyable group to watch. The way they play, the style they play, the confidence they play with. I'm very impressed with everything they're doing out on the basketball floor, and it's really fun for Chris and I to have a chance to have a great seat and watch every game.
Yeah, and you know, because you spend a lot of time with them too, they're just fun to be around.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they are.
Of course, you know, and I've been on both sides of it. It's fun when you win, and it's, you know, and then it's great, and everybody's fun to be around. And when you're not having a great season, it's not so much fun to be around everybody. But you know, that's part of the deal. I mean, there's no question about it. Winning's more fun.
Well, your coaches told you during the off season they expected you to have a little more fun this year.
Well, the winning helps, no question about it. And you know, I talk to the players. You know, I just, you know, my desire for them to have such a good experience. Sometimes I can go overboard, and then I end up doing just the opposite, making them have a bad experience by some of the things I say to them. And so, you know, I appreciate the fact that they just let me coach them.
Well, you've always talked about this. You're such a competitor, but you look on the sidelines and you seem so calm. You know, you just wonder. I asked Coach Brown during the game. I said, "Wonder what's going through his mind right now."
No, and I guess my players would probably be surprised to hear you say that I seem so calm. I mean,
we're not as
I'm not
close
joking.
as they are. Yeah.
And there are some times that I am, and I think as this season's gone along, I've gotten better. I think early in the year I was not calm. And as it's gone along, I've trusted our players more. Now, when we get a lead like we get at Youngstown, then I tend to get turned up because I feel like people start doing things that they don't normally do when you get a lead, and I get turned up. But you know, I wish I could say that I was calm. I'm not calm. I mean, every pass, you know, my stomach hurts because I think somebody's going to steal it. I mean, by the time the game's over, I'm exhausted.
And what was it like, though? You know, losing, you know, to Cleveland State like that. It had to be, you know, really tough, you know, on you. And we've talked about student athletes seem to get over it a little bit better. But what was it like for you, especially the 24 hours?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter what it's like for me, and that's the truth. You know, what matters is the players, and I struggle with it. I do. I don't get over it very easily, and you know. But I talk to players. You know, and the reality of it is, it doesn't matter what you do, you're just not going to win every game. And the problem, you know, in my personality is, you know, I see the things that need to be fixed, not always the things that are going right, and being able to compliment people. And so, you know, sometimes I can wear people out with all the things that need to be fixed. But, you know, and I remember the losses. I don't remember the wins. And so the losses are tough on me, but, you know, that doesn't matter. What's important to the players.
Well, the true character of a team is the way they bounce back and what they've learned from those losses. And the Raiders have not dropped back-to-back games since early in the season, those first 3 games, and that says a lot about their character, their work ethic, and just their grit to go out there and want to get another victory after they've suffered a loss.
Yeah, and the hard work they put in, you know, the more you invest, the harder it is to give up. You know, when you poured yourself into it, it's just harder to give in to that. And you know, we've had such a good year that you know, they don't want to give in to that. And you know, we have put in a lot of hard work, and you know, I think that the players, you know, really want to win and believe in each other. And you know, the whole belief thing is so important. It just is. You know, and we talked about that all through the first part of the season. You know, playing like you see yourself, and they see themselves a lot differently now than they did back in November.
I know we have a couple more minutes left, and talk about something a little bit off topic from the team. And Coach Brown brought this up to me just the other day. He saw an article about, you know, I forgot who it was. Someone from Purdue, an athletic director, wrote a letter about.
As the president of Purdue wrote a letter to Condoleezza Rice, who apparently has been hired to fix the basketball problems of the world, and he had some suggestions, strong suggestions about some things that wouldn't happen, like going back to freshman ineligibility. But he made some really good points, and I was talking to Sharif about this too, where this graduate transfer thing, one of the suggestions he made was, well, if you take a graduate transfer, you've got to give him a scholarship for 2 years. So that ties up that scholarship for 2 years. So, because let's be honest, nobody gets a degree in 1 year.
Yeah, you know, and you said Mike LaTulip did. He got it done in a summer and a year and then another summer. Mike did. But most of these kids are not doing that. They're going for 1 year. You know, they may be going to class, they may not be going to class, and then when they're done, they're just exiting. And, you know, I agree with you. I think if you're going to take a grad transfer, it should cost you a scholarship for 2 years.
Well, he made some really good points. I mean, like, you know, the NCAA ought to just manage the sport and let everybody else handle their own business. I mean, he talked about the North Carolina thing, all that, and nothing happened. And he just, I mean, it was a really good article. It was in the Indianapolis paper, and he was very, very critical of some of the things that are going on with with college athletics today, and you and I have talked, I mean, we feel the same way. I mean, there's just so many things that just don't make any sense. Like this business now where they're talking about letting a kid transfer one time and go wherever he wants and no penalty, doesn't have to set out a year. And
yeah, and I think we're moving closer to that. I think that's going to happen. It's not going to go backwards. It's not going to become more difficult to transfer, because I think they're very concerned about lawsuits and things like that. Sometimes I wonder, why they want to mess with it all. It seems like it's going pretty good. The NCAA tournament is pretty good. But obviously, when you have the things that happened this past fall with men's college basketball and some of the stuff that we saw, and I don't think it was any big surprise to some of the coaches. I mean, you always hear those stories. I've just never. The thing I don't understand, I've always tried to figure out is how, if you've cheated to get a kid, if you. Whatever you've done, if the kids know the rules and they know that you've broken them to get them,
they have you.
How do you coach that young
exactly
man?
Right.
How do you hold him accountable? How do you get after him? How do you really coach him like he needs to be coached? Because at the end of the day, he owns you. He can say, "Look,
right.
I can tell everybody what I know about what you did."
Yeah.
And that's the gamble that these coaches have to take, and it's very interesting how they have to deal with that. One other question too, and going along with those thoughts was, the input from the NBA, or lack of that, and how that affects, especially these one and done players. That they just come and go all the time. Do you think they have some responsibility, or really do they not have that legally to be able to say, okay, let's work with the NCAA and let's change things up a little bit?
I don't know. I personally, I feel like we live in America. If you're good enough to play in the NBA coming out of high school, then go. I don't understand. I mean, in baseball, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, but
you make that choice out of high school.
Well, I understand that, but if they want to go, they go, and nobody says one word about that. For some reason, the basketball players, the people just tend to feel a little bit differently, and I don't understand it. Some people say it's good, it's not good. I don't know. I'd like to be able to recruit some kids that I have to worry about that, and hopefully we will. I think it gives teams like Wright State a chance, because generally we're going to have guys go through the program and be juniors and seniors. And so it gives us a chance against some of those teams because they're younger.
Well, we've talked about it too. You got two redshirt freshmen that it really benefited both of them, Everett Winchester and Loudon Love, by how they've been able to contribute to the team this year by sitting out last year.
Really contribute. The only thing that concerns me about redshirting young men is you get into the fourth and fifth year, and I said this to Coach Cooley this morning. Players don't get easier to coach as they get older. They get a little more difficult because they get comfortable with you. They're not as afraid of you, and they start to think that they know what they're doing. And so sometimes a player and a coach can be around each other too long, and so like he gets sick of your voice. He doesn't want to hear it anymore. And I don't really have that concern with Everett and Loudon. They're great kids, but I do know that the longer they're with you, the more difficult they become to coach, and that's not on purpose. It just is, that they go from being a boy and being really afraid, where you can get them to do whatever you want, to becoming a man and not having as much fear of you.
I think that's why there's such a turnover in the professional ranks, is because they have them for more than 4 years and they quit listening to them. And so who goes? The coach goes, because they need a new voice.
Yeah,
we saw that firsthand.
Yeah,
obviously we're in college. The player goes and
you start all over.
Right,
and you're exactly right. You're because there's a window there.
There is a window. I agree with you. And sometimes for some players, 5 years can be too long.
Well, we were saying we saw that firsthand. Coach and I went to the Cleveland Cavaliers game against the Miami Heat last Wednesday night, and we didn't see a whole lot of defense in that game.
It was a defensive masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. That's not what you said during the game.
No.
Oh, no. As a coach, you really did not appreciate that.
Well, it's like I asked Vitale after the game, who's an assistant coach there and who was nice enough to get us tickets. I said, Vitale, what about the defense? He says, Coach, we're too old and we're too slow.
That's a bad combination.
Yes, it's a real bad combination. Yeah.
Well, I know you want to see your team play a good defense like they have for the most part this year, Coach Nagy. Good luck. We're going to spend some time with a couple of your student athletes who have joined us here tonight, and continued success. Let's hope we can get a win against Green Bay on Thursday. All right, stay with us. We'll have more of the Scott Nagy Show from TJ Chumps in Fairborn when we return. This is Wright State University basketball.
Please join us for Wright State's annual Arts Gala on March 24th. Enjoy an amazing evening of performances by our incredible fine and performing arts students, plus fine dining and auction items too. All proceeds support art scholarships to help our students succeed. That's Arts Gala on March 24th. For tickets, call or click.
And welcome back. And as promised, we have one of the Raiders here with us right now between me and Coach Brown. He is Ty Wilburn, a junior here. He is a walk-on. We don't like to say that because he is he's a big member of this team, a big contributor. And as Coach Nagy said a few moments ago, his comments, he says, in Ty in practice, he deserves, the minutes that he gets because he plays extremely hard. And Ty, Coach Brown said at the end of the game, a lot of you guys were tired, don't have a really deep bench at this point. And he says, I want to talk to Ty Wilburn at the end of that game the other night. And he was emphatic about that. And we appreciate you coming out after that big win against Youngstown State.
Thanks for having me out tonight. And, I just try to do the best I can when I get in.
Well, you do pretty well because, I'm going to talk about this right at the top. And that was the play. And I tell everybody I had today, I've talked to, I said, that defensive play that you made was amazing because they were throwing the ball about three-quarter court to the basket, and there seemed to be somebody open. But out of the blue comes look like this NFL safety, just like your grandfather, Zeke Moore, who played for the Houston Oilers. There you were. You snatched it right out of the air, and you came down and moved the other way.
Yeah, like I told my father, I said, I think I missed my calling. I should have stuck with football.
Well, we're glad that you chose to be here because you play very well, and you're filling a big gap, with this team right now. And let's talk about it a little bit. Your mentality, coming into a game, even the team is up by, 15, 20 points. I don't think you even look at the scoreboard. You just play one way, and that's 100%.
Yeah, I was always, taught to whenever you're between the lines, you just give it all you got, because, it can be taken away any time, so you don't want to take it for granted.
Coach was talking about taking the ball to the basket, and Coach Brown asked you at the end of the game. He was so impressed by that play you made at the end of the first half.
It's just.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of time left, and we hadn't really done
just 8 seconds.
A whole lot of that. And you were at half court. They were trying to double team you, and you just aggressively took it right to. And when you got to the basket, there was a big guy right there, but that didn't bother you. Just smooth as silk, laid it off the glass, and we went to the locker room with a lead.
Yeah, it's different when that's not Big Loudon back there. So if I can do it in practice, I'm pretty sure, I can do it against the skinny kid. But the play before that, I was standing in the corner, and the Youngstown coach yelled out, he can't score, and Morris, you can't guard. So I felt a little bit disrespected. So I said, let me go make a play.
Yeah, I heard you said that after the game. That you don't say things like that to somebody. That's every time you've come in the game this year, I call you the Energizer Bunny because you just are everywhere. And talk about. Because I coached for a long time, and I had a great appreciation as a coach for walk-ons. The preferred walk-ons, guys that you want to be in your program, and there's a difference. But I've always had so much respect for guys like you because you never know when your number's going to be called. I mean, you may not even get called. You've got to come to practice and do the same things everybody else does. And sometimes people don't even know who you are. They'll come to a game and they don't even know who you are. But yet you go into the game, Ty, and every single time you play with tremendous enthusiasm. You're a joy to watch, and you make things happen.
Yeah, it's just about, giving your all and doing what you can do. Controllable is what I live by. If I can't control it, then I can't really do anything about it, but I can control how hard I play.
Do you get more enjoyment out of an assist or a basket? Because you had 5 of those the other night.
Actually, I get more enjoyable out of harassing people on the defensive end.
Why am I not surprised? But really, handling the basketball, that's really important, right now, and then picking up the time. And with this team, got to ask you about what it's like, to be with this group. Everybody has, a different personality, but really, like they say, it's one team, one goal, one mission. That's the mantra, of this team, and they really stick by that.
I mean, this is a great group of guys. We had a lot of different personalities on the team. You have Loudon.
His name always seems to come up all the time.
Loudon, Trey. It's like so many different personalities combined to one team that, it's enjoyable to be with.
Yeah, there are some good guys, to be around. And Grant, of course, he's in a whole different world, isn't he?
Yeah, Grant's the grandfather.
He's the grandfather, is what you guys call him? He always brings up some strange topics at different times, but I mean, he just keeps the team loose. Yeah. I mean, even coming off that loss with Cleveland State, listening on before the shoot around, he's just blaring out some strange stuff, and people listen and they have a conversation with him. I mean, but those are good things, though. I mean, because it kind of keeps you guys loose. I mean, what was it like, for you, to be able to, I know you really hate to lose, just like everybody else on this team, getting over that game and then having to prepare for another game on the road.
Just you're gonna win some games, you're gonna lose some games. It's just about how you bounce back. You gotta keep looking down the line, because at the end of the day, it's about the Horizon League championship and getting to that point and making the NCAA championship.
Coach talked about how well you play in practice, because you play like you practice, and that's where those minutes come from. And I think you're aware of that also. I mean, when you go into a practice, do you look at it like being in a game?
Yeah, like I always say, the practice is my game. You don't get better in the game, you get better in practice. So how I look at it is I just go in and, do my all, and, and with doing that did help me receive the scholarship that I got. So
did you look at, I mean, do you feel better or more comfortable, is the question I have, this year compared to last year?
This year it's about the same. I mean, I got more of a opportunity this year than I did last year. I mean, about the same for real. It's really no difference.
It's tough.
It's just basketball.
So you enjoy, the defensive part of the game, correct? Yeah. When you come into the game, this team has played such good defense, for most of the season, and the job that you get against Youngstown State obviously is something you're proud of, and all the other guys.
Yeah, defense is what we work on the most. Our offense will come, but if you can't stop nobody, then you're not gonna win. So, I mean, unless you're playing for a team that got the model the first team to 100 wins, and many people are not going to win that way.
Ty Wilburn, I have this question for you. What do you like best about this team? What do you like best about it? What do you like being a part of? Obviously, the wins isn't real important, but
I guess that everyone actually truly cares about one another. It's more than about basketball. It's about us as individuals, us as people, us as humans. It goes deeper than just basketball, because we're humans still.
Talk a little bit about your background. I know we've had you on before this year, and coming from Northwest Indiana, from an athletic family, for you now to play college sports like this, it's got to be a great experience for you. Talk a little bit about some of the challenges maybe you faced, as you were going through high school, and the decisions that you had to make.
Challenges I really faced was just a couple injuries I had coming out of high school, which derailed the recruitment I had. I had a lot of top schools recruit me, and taking the injury I did my freshman year kind of derailed me. Being a smaller guard hurt as well. So, I mean, I could have went to junior college straight out of high school, but I chose the Division I route, and then I ended up actually still going to JUCO. So, but it just.
Did you ever think about maybe playing football when you were in high school afterwards?
I tried to play my senior year, but because I had AAU, I wasn't allowed. But I did go to a couple practices, and then the defensive coach came and got me out of class and said, "I want you to play." Then I went to practice during the season, and then the head coach was pretty much said, "I don't want you coming and taking anyone's minutes who's been here the whole summer." And I mean, I respected that. So
sure, you can understand that, definitely. Yeah. But obviously, he must have thought you were very talented. He must have, if he thought, "Well, I don't want you to take any minutes." That pretty much tells me that he thought maybe you could come in and do that, but he didn't want to disrupt the team.
I think it was more of the defense the defensive players going to the coach and telling them that they wanted me to play more than anything, because I played with those same group of guys in middle school, and actually I was the running back. So they were going to convert me to the defensive side.
Did you like the contact?
I love contact.
What are you majoring in at Wright State?
I'm majoring in organizational leadership. I'm 6 credits short of graduation. So I started my prereq for my MBA. So at this point, I'm trying to work on my MBA as well as my undergrad.
What do you want to? Our one son graduated in organizational leadership, and he's been a salesman his entire career. So what do you envision doing with that?
Well, my major actually was not supposed to be organizational leadership, but that was the only thing that took all my credits. But
right.
My thing is, I just want to give back to the community, help kids out like my father helped the young kids out when I was coming up. The thing I really want to do is stay in basketball, so maybe an athletic department, like a college team, front office of a professional team, or a director of play operation.
Well, whatever you do, you'll be an asset to whatever organization you get involved in. So we wish you well.
Appreciate that.
Ty, thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming out here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Hey, you got your teammate, James Vance. He's getting ready to make his appearance with us. We'll have more when we continue from TJ Chumps in Fairborn. This is Wright State University basketball.
What does it mean to be a pioneer, reaching your full potential? It means being bold. No, bigger than bold, monumental. Having no fear in the face of adversity, essential. They doubt us, inconsequential. Where would we be if we cease at the first "you can't do that"? You see, we set out to be what we see in you. Innovators, free thinkers, seekers of truth. At Wright State, our goal remains central. We are the pioneers of potential.
Hi, I'm Bob Grody, class of 1976 and former Raiders player and coach. Did you know that once you're a Wright State grad, you're automatically a member of the Alumni Association? As a member, tap into the Wright State Network, attend a local alumni event, and earn discounts and special offers. Log on to WrightStateAlumni.com and make the most of your membership. Thank you, and go Raiders.
Please join us for Wright State's annual Arts Gala March 24th. Enjoy amazing performances by our incredible art students, plus fine dining and auction items too. All proceeds support art scholarships. That's Arts Gala on March 24th.
And thank you very much. We're back at TJ Chumps here in Fairborn for our next to final segment as we come to you live here at TJ Chumps tonight in Fairborn. And next week, we're back in Huber Heights the week after. The Raiders will be playing Cleveland State on the 19th on that Monday, so we will not have a show. Then the following week, the final coaches shows on the 26th, and those will be back here in Fairborn. Any questions, the schedules or anything, as always, you can get that information at WSURaiders.com. Go to the basketball pages. And with us right now, I think for the first time this year, James Manns, who's transferred in here to Wright State University, will be eligible after the transfer rules setting in for next season, but he's been practicing this year. And, James, it's always a great opportunity for the fans to get to know the student athletes here. Of course, for you, you're not, you don't go on the road trips right now, but you spend a lot of time in practice here at home, also getting acclimated, to what it's like, going to college and getting all your classes in and working towards your major there. Just give a little background. You're from the Columbus area. You went originally, you went ahead and you committed to High Point. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you came here to Wright State. And I'll tell fans at the top, actually, there was a special, didn't they, Coach, ask for some input from the NCAA to maybe get James eligible this year, but NCAA must be very, very busy. They never got around to that request till later on. But to benefit you, James, why only play a half a season when you can get another whole season out of it? First of all, welcome, and talk about what it was like for you before you chose to come here to Wright State.
I decided to come here because it'll be closer to home, so my parents didn't come watch me play, and that was really it. Because when I did decide to go to North Carolina, my mom, she started crying. She didn't want me going that far.
You've seen a lot of that, haven't you, Coach, over the years?
Absolutely. It's funny how, as a coach, when you have somebody that's real close to home, you're trying to talk them into staying home. And then when you have someone far away, it's great to get away. It's just great. So you, as a coach, you're talking out of your mouth. You're just depends on who you're talking to. But, the thing I like about you, James, I'm going to be real honest here. I've watched you practice. I had you in my coaching class. Is you're left-handed and you can shoot the basketball. He does both those things really well. Of course, the left-handed is not a skill, but shooting the basketball, I've watched you enough. You remind me a little bit of a great player we had years ago, Rodney Benson. Now, I know that name means nothing to you, but fans that have followed our program for a long time remember Rodney. He was a great, great left-handed forward here, and I've seen a lot of that same thing out of you.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you like offense, don't you?
Yes.
You like offense, and now you probably feel this. I'm in practice right now. I can just go ahead and score. A lot, but it's a lot different in the game. What it's like been in practice. With your teammates right now. I've asked a lot of players who've had to sit out a year. Cole Gentry, Loudon Love, and also Everett Winchester. What it was like for them to have to sit out. And they say it's been beneficial for them, but boy, it's just really, frustrating because you as a competitive athlete, you want to be out there. So what's it been like for you?
It's been great. I learned some things, and then being around them shows me what I got to do to play more next year and get a lot of playing time. So,
what are some of the things that you think and what the coaches have told you that you really need to focus on? I would imagine it's probably on the defensive end, right?
Defense, getting through screens and stuff. That was really mainly it.
What was it like for you when did you play AAU ball in addition when you were in high school? We talked to a lot of players about this, and what were some of the things that you picked up playing against some more quality competition than you see in high school?
I played for the EYBL for all Ohio, so I seen a lot of top players. So that was really.
You went to Walnut Ridge High School, right?
Yeah.
And Columbus has always had Walnut Ridge. I can remember back. You probably don't remember this, but it was like in the late '60s. I think they won a state championship. But Columbus basketball has always been really good. What was your experience like in high school playing in the Columbus City League? I mean, Northland, Sullingers went there, and of course Trey Burke was out of that Columbus. What was it like?
It was great. It was a lot of competition, and it was just a lot of competition. It was really great to be around a lot of top players that playing against the OCC was probably really the best, because that was really a lot of competition.
That's the Ohio Capital Conference. Yeah. That's a huge league too. There's 36 teams in that league. It includes the suburbs and.
Yes, from out of there, we played against Matt Moyer to go to Syracuse, Nick Ward that played for Michigan State, and then a couple other big-time players.
Here's the real question, James. You grew up in Columbus.
Yeah.
Are you an Ohio State fan?
Used to be.
Well, there's a lot of young people that grow up in Columbus, and everybody would think they would be a big Ohio State football fan, basketball fan, and they hate them. And then there's other people that just think it's the best thing ever. So I just wondered what your feelings were.
I am a Ohio State fan again because my cousins play for the Ohio State basketball team, Andre Weston and Caleb Weston.
They're your
cousins, that's right. Yeah, okay. They're your cousins?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They played yesterday in the game against Illinois. I was watching them play in that game. So you ever stay in contact with them, talk with them?
Yeah, I still talk to them. And then, when I go home, I hang out with them sometime.
Mm-hmm. You tell them you can't wait to get out there on the floor maybe and compete?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they give you little pointers. I mean, as cousins, they give you little pointers?
Nah.
Play a little one-on-one against them occasionally?
Used to when we was younger, not no more.
Oh, not no more. Okay, don't have any time. No time for that. James. It's we're talking with James Mann, a member of the Wright State basketball team, sitting out after transferring. He'll be eligible for next year. I've told a lot of the players who come on for the first time here. You're a little bit nervous. But you're not nervous on a basketball court. And that's okay. It's not easy. To be able to put those headsets on. Come out here and talk in front of all these people. But these people really appreciate it, and they really get to know, guys like you, and, we're all one big family here, right now. So, it's good to get to know you, and talk about the things that, make James Mann's tick. What's it been like, the transition for you? Coach talked about it with Ty, and as far as school, time management always seems to be something that, we hear a lot of student athletes talk about, because let's face it, you don't have a lot of free time being a student athlete.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like got practice, then school, then work, and then then weights and stuff. Like, it's a lot to handle. But
what do the coaches want specifically? Have they told you what they want you to work on during this time off?
Mainly it's my defense and getting stronger.
Yeah, okay, getting into the weight room.
Yeah.
I've noticed. What's it been like for you in there, the program that they have you working on? Is it specifically in certain areas that you're looking at to improve in?
I just want to get my arms bigger. That's really it.
Okay, so is Loudon challenging you now?
Nah.
No.
He still closes his eyes when he try to dunks, and
You guys give him a hard time for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he? He broke a backboard his first time when he came in here. Is he still trying to do that?
Yes.
Okay, he is trying to do that. Somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, Coach, but that next one he might get a bill if he breaks it, right?
I doubt that. Not with the kind of season he's having. Hey, when you were in high school, what position did you play? I mean, I know in college you're probably you have the ability to go out on the court and face the basket, but also, play inside. I mean, what position do you see yourself, or are you going to be versatile and be able to do both?
In high school, I played every position except the one. Mm-hmm. But in college, I'm looking to play like the 3 and the 4.
Have you played back to basket in high school?
Yeah.
You played back to basket, because that's a different skill set to play back to basket and then go out and to face the basket like Jalen Hall or Everett Winchester's more. You're saying you're more like Everett Winchester, where you can. Everett hasn't developed a three-point shot yet. You have that already, so you've already got that. But playing back to basket's a different skill set altogether.
Yeah, I like posting more than being around the arc.
How about defensively? I mean, is it easier for you to defend a post player?
Yes,
or is it?
it's way easier.
Yeah, it's a big challenge to go out at the college level, because these guys can shoot it. In high school, it was rare to have a guy your size go out and make threes, so you could crowd him a little bit. In college, it's a little different situation. Those guys can make the three, so the challenge of keeping them in front of you and still contesting the three. That's just that's a skill that you're going to have to develop probably if you want to play on the perimeter, is being able to defend somebody like a Grant Benzinger or a Jalen Hall or an Everett Winchester.
Yeah.
What's it like in practice, though, going up against these guys, especially because, let's face it, we've seen Ty Wilburn. He doesn't know if it's practice or a game. That you guys go after each other pretty good in practice, and you need to have that intensity. Is that something that you're picking up on? On the defensive side, it's more of a physical mindset than, of course, you definitely have to know where you have to be in certain situations. But what's it like for you in practice?
I try to get them all in practice since I be on scout team, so that's basically what they're gonna get in the game. So I just get them all and get them ready for the game.
What about shot selection? Obviously you're not having it in a game yet. This year, you as a player, because you do have offensive skills that we talked about. Back to the basket, also face up, and you have some range on your jump shot. When is it? Because it's got to be a quick reaction. Do I take it to the basket? Do I shoot the three because I'm wide open? Is that something that talk about that as far as how you attack it offensively when you play?
If the person ain't up close on me, I'll shoot, and if he ain't got a hand up, I shoot. But if he's close and got a hand in my face, I would just swing through and just go past him.
One advantage that you have is that you're taller, than a lot of guards are, so you're going to be able to shoot over some other guys.
Yeah.
So that's a big advantage for you. Coach talked about, in that last game that we had, taking the ball to the basket. It's really, really important. Are you the type of player that gets to the free throw line a lot?
Yes.
You like to? And you good free throw shooter?
I say 80%.
Okay, that's real good. Because you're looking like 75%. That's a pretty good shooter right there. But if you can shoot 80%, you know that's excellent.
What kind of teams? I mean, what kind of records did you have in high school with Walnut Ridge? Were you very competitive, or was it a struggle? Or
I went to 2 high schools. I went to Marion Franklin. That's on the south side of Columbus. And then every time we played against them, like nobody didn't like me since I transferred. So like that's the game I always took the most like serious, like the most. So like every time we played them, I had over 30 points. So that's the only game. Like, and then all the other games, I shared the ball with my team. Like I'm a pass first guy before I look to shoot and score.
Did you guys? I mean, what kind of seasons did you have record wise? I mean,
we went to the Final Four my junior year, and then senior year, I didn't play in the tournament or nothing because I broke my hand.
Broke your hand, but you guys made it to Columbus.
Yeah, we went to the City League 2 years I was there.
Yeah. Well, that's important, I think, to have that kind of background coming in. Coach Nagy's talked about that a bunch of times. The 4 guys that they've got coming in next year, all coming from quality basketball programs, got good records. I think it's important. It's a lot more fun, too.
James Bands, we're out of time. In fact, you know what? See, it wasn't that hard, right?
It wasn't
all
hard.
right.
He's happy about that.
We got that, all right? Look forward to talking to you next time. Wright State in action against Green Bay this coming Thursday. Hope to see you out at the Wright State University Nutter Center. James Bands, also Ty Wilburn, Coach Nagy, also Jim Brown. This is Chris Collins. Thanking you for coming out here tonight. Again, next week, we're going to be out at TJ Chumps in Huber Heights. This is Wright State University basketball.